Looking back at the beginning of the current console generation, one can't help but applaud Phil Spencer and his team for doing everything in their power to transform the Xbox One into an appealing console. A piece of hardware that basically started out as a $500 brick, shunned by the global gaming community due to the consumer-hostile business practices it represented, is now a great console thanks to a drastic strategy shift headed by Spencer. The Xbox One offers incredible value in the form of a massive backwards compatibility program and innovative services like Xbox Game Pass. While I would argue that the immense backlash against Microsoft was absolutely justified during the initial phases of the console race, and even more so a necessity in order to usher in meaningful change, it's also important to acknowledge that we are not dealing with the same console anymore. Xbox has changed for the better. That said, even the most die-hard Xbox fan must admit that there's one particular problem that remains to be solved. Xbox is missing meaningful AAA exclusives. That is not to say games like Sea of Thieves, State of Decay 2 and Crackdown 3 aren't enjoyable titles created by talented developers. However, only someone who is putting brand loyalty over facts could claim that Microsoft isn't light years behind Sony in terms of unmissable high-quality exclusives. PlayStation is hellbent to offer an unbeatable lineup of staggering games, and they are succeeding. Eye-catching titles like Death Stranding, God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us Part 2 Horizon, and so many more are the main reason why Sony's E3 conferences tend to tower above their competition. But maybe, being aware of such criticism, Microsoft has something special in store for us at this year's E3, something that could catch people off guard. Here are my Microsoft E3 2018 predictions. Please enjoy. Bonnie Ross once expressed her desire to ensure that the Halo franchise will last another 3 decades. If it were up to Microsoft, we'd still be playing Halo in 2037. Halo always was and still is synonymous with Xbox. Since the Xbox One exclusive lineup looks fairly sparse in direct comparison to Sony, a fall release window for Halo 6 would be a welcome surprise. But it's questionable if Halo 6 is ready for a 2018 release date. Regardless of a 2018 or 2019 release, Xbox fans deserve to know what the future holds in terms of noteworthy AAA exclusives. I'm confident that Halo 6 is an integral part of Microsoft's showcase. Master Chief's strong presence is desperately needed. A new year, a new FORZA. Do I have to say more? You have to admire Turn 10 Studios and Playground Games for releasing a polished and high-quality racing game every year. The only thing worth criticizing is the fact that FORZA is a well-oiled but also predictable and unsurprising machinery. I'm sure racing fans are thrilled by the prospect of a new FORZA game. At the same time, it's not really a game that makes Microsoft's E3 conference stand out, because we all know exactly what we are going to see. Then again, never change a running system. Besides, I've no interest in racing games whatsoever, so I'm certainly not the best person to make any final judgments here.
Come touch me like I'm an ordinary.
Obviously, CD Projekt Red's upcoming open world RPG isn't an Xbox One exclusive, but what it most definitely represents is a killer app worth fighting for. Microsoft may be struggling in the exclusive department, but that doesn't stop them from reserving highly anticipated games for their conference. Whoever manages to showcase CYBERPUNK 2077 on stage is guaranteed to gain the full attention of the gaming media. Before Witcher 3, CD Projekt was primarily a PC developer. For this reason, and due to the fact that Witcher 3 Wild Hunt showed up a couple of times during Microsoft's E3 conferences, I think this year will be no different. If my assumption turns out to be correct, Microsoft added a huge reason to be more than excited about their E3 showcase.
They say the time of heroes is over.
To home in on the point I just made, even if Microsoft is lacking meaningful big-name exclusives, E3 is a show above everything else. Therefore, the representation of outstanding third-party games can add a lot to support the overall quality of an E3 conference. Insomniac's PS4 exclusive Spider-Man is assured to celebrate a glorious return before its release in summer. To believe Microsoft negotiated full exclusivity for Avengers appears overly optimistic. Square Enix made a timed exclusivity deal with Microsoft before. In Rise of the Tomb Raider's case, being restricted to Xbox for a year ultimately hurt the game more than it helped. There are certain economic realities, PlayStation sales being ahead of Xbox sales by more than 2-1 is one of them. Nevertheless, if Crystal Dynamics is ready to reveal first footage, Microsoft should try to counterbalance the strong presence of Spider-Man at Sony's stage. Ori and the Blind Forest probably is one of the greatest examples of the artistic potential of the video game medium. Moon Studios' gorgeous Metroidvania platformer stands out from Microsoft's usual fixation on space marines with big guns. Judging by the trailer, Will of the Wisps promises to deliver the same mesmerizing beauty in art design and music that made the first game so unique. Every single frame looks like the colorful page from a book of fairy tales. A release date accompanied by a new trailer should be a safe bet. Square Enix confirmed that a new Tomb Raider is currently in development and is planned to release this year. I don't believe Shadow of the Tomb Raider, to use the title coined by leaks, will follow the same timed exclusivity deal of its predecessor. The timed exclusivity of Rise of the Tomb Raider was met with a lot of backlash, and it's questionable if the deal worked out in the game's favor. So to see Tomb Raider return during a Microsoft press conference without the same exclusivity deal might be a little bit awkward, yet I nonetheless think it's the most likely scenario. Disregarding the business plan of Shadow of the Tomb Raider, as a massive action-adventure fan, I'm just really stoked to see where the next adventure takes us. Metro Exodus was first revealed during Microsoft's E3 2017 press conference. The Metro series is known for impressive visuals, and the newest title certainly continues this tradition. Metro Exodus is still scheduled to release this fall. Therefore, 4A Games should be willing to share a concrete release date around E3. Halo 5 Guardians was released 1 year before Gears of War 4, which leads to the logical conclusion that Halo 6 is going to see the light of day before Gears of War 5. The problem is, we don't even know when Halo 6 is going to be released. This year will be revolving around Halo 6 in all likelihood, but that doesn't mean a brief look at Gears of War 5 is out of the question. I think we are going to see a little teaser, pretty much just there to confirm that the game is coming. Again, fans are being vocal about a lack of AAA exclusives. Microsoft should use this E3 to reassure the Xbox community that the future is full of great first-party exclusives. According to Eurogamer, Playground Games is trying to reinvigorate the Fable franchise. In early 2016, Fable creator Lionhead was shut down, and with them, Fable Legends. As tragic as the fate of Lionhead is, fans might get what they are asking for nonetheless. Fable aficionados expressed their concern regarding the new free-to-play multiplayer direction of Fable Legends. Well, apparently Fable is not only alive and well. If Eurogamer's sources are to be believed, Playground's Fable stays true to the open-world action RPG roots of the series, with a strong focus on quirky characters and storytelling. Informing fans about the existence of a new Fable by means of a teaser would be another way to reassure Microsoft's ongoing support of ambitious exclusive content. Even if Microsoft's E3 conference features Halo 6, Gears of War 5 and a new Fable, Sony is still miles ahead in terms of AAA exclusives. One way to close the gap is the strategic acquisition of studios. Recent rumors even go as far to say Microsoft intends to buy video game giants like EA. I'm sure they are intending to do that. The real question is, why would EA play along? Losing the potential money of 75 million PS4 players doesn't sound like a solid plan. If you ask me, this particular rumor is nothing but a giant pile of dogshit. But that doesn't mean Microsoft couldn't acquire smaller companies like Bluehole Games, for example. PUBG is massively successful, and locking its player base to Microsoft platforms seems like a smart business decision. Ultimately, I don't know anything more than you do. So much for my Microsoft E3 predictions. There are plenty of potential rumors and games I haven't mentioned. Xbox is in an interesting position, and I'm eager to see what the future holds. Let's not forget that Microsoft had great E3 conferences in the last few years. Unfortunately, they tend to be overshadowed by Sony a day later. Maybe this year is gonna be different. Please share your thoughts and predictions in the comments section, and subscribe to my channel if you are interested in further prediction videos.